So before we jump into the actual list itself, I just want to point out congratulations on the platinum today in the Artful Escape. That's bloody impressive, mate. The first game we here is Adventure Capitalist. This is a game where essentially you just have to buy everything on Earth. It's one that I've been curious about myself at some point. It's just the backlog is forever in the hundreds. I think I'm in the 300 to 400 sort of range now that the new PS Plus Premium packages have started to launch. Next up, we have Apex. 2 trophies. I believe they were the Jumpmaster 5 times trophy and the Killmaster trophy. This hurts my soul that you don't have more. There's also one unobtainable trophy at the moment in this game. It is to have a fully decked out legendary weapon or gold weapon. That's currently not obtainable. I unfortunately am also looking for this trophy in the PS5 stack of this game. I love Apex. Hopefully you can play more of it in the future. Next up, we have Ark Survival Evolved. 2 hours and 23 minutes. That's a cheeky dev kit. I'm onto you. You can use the dev kit to auto pop a lot of trophies. I see you got 100%. When I used the dev kit to try and get that 100%, I wasn't able to get it to work. It just kept crashing because bugger going for 783 collectibles or whatever it is. Maybe I'll try and get it to work on the PS5 or something. But nice work on that platinum, the first one on the list so far. Next up, we have Assassin's Creed Origins. Anyone who's been watching me knows I love this game. Only 1 trophy. I'm guessing that's probably the one to escape the tomb at the start of the game. This is big open world Assassin's Creed. It was sort of the first of the Witcher 3 clones of Assassin's Creed. It's the only one on the list. I would definitely recommend this as a series to maybe look into. Maybe Assassin's Creed 2, Black Flag, and Unity might be better picks. They're definitely stronger games in the series. Baseball Breakthrough Gaming Arcade. The only thing I know about the Breakthrough Gaming series is if you look up the series on PSNP, the gaming part of it, they've put in quotations, which I think is pretty funny. I know that the Breakthrough games are sort of easy peasy like hammies, so you sort of get the game, play it for 20 seconds and get all the trophies, I believe. I could be wrong. This one seems to have taken about 7 months. I'm guessing you play baseball. As someone who's from Australia, baseball's not really something that exists over here, so I don't really know much about it. I know you like swing, but that's the extent of my knowledge. Next up, we have Telltale's Batman. Also, your first platinum trophy, so congratulations on that. We've got both of the Batman Telltale games. I don't know if you necessarily enjoyed them as much. Personally, I didn't. They're interesting. The twist in the end of the first game is interesting. As for the trophies themselves, you just get the trophies for playing through the game. You get 1 trophy sort of at the end of each chapter, and I don't really remember there being much in the way of miscellaneous trophies. Beyond Two Souls, you've started, you haven't completed just yet. Is this one you're sort of interested in maybe going back to? I believe this is a David Cage game, so very, very story-based. The trophies are very multiple playthrough-y, multiple different sort of runs. You're making decisions that then affect things down the line in the game itself and also affect future trophies you can potentially get. I did Detroit Become Human myself. I don't think I would ever really go back to one of these. Bioshock is next. Another one that you sort of started but put down at some point. Another one I'd honestly recommend maybe going back to if you're interested. It's got some twists in it that are definitely very memorable. Obviously, one of them is sort of a staple moment of gaming. Remember to, would you kindly like and subscribe? Brawlhalla is next. I don't really know much about Brawlhalla, if I'm honest. I think it's like a side-scrolly beat-em-up kind of thing. You can play with other people. As you can see, it's a 2% ultra-rare trophy. I'm sure that's probably a hard one to actually do. Bridge Constructor. You make bridges. It's like Bob the Builder, but you've got bridges. Burnout Paradise. This is an impressive one. You need to coordinate with quite a few people to be able to get a couple of the trophies. I believe they might be DLC trophies. 6 days, so you did in less than a week. This is one I would love to go back to myself. I do know that the PS3 version is unobtainable now, I believe. But very good game. Next up, we've got Black Ops Cold War. I don't know about you, but personally, Cold War isn't my favorite Call of Duty. It's probably sort of on the lower end of the Call of Duties for me. I wasn't the biggest fan of this game. The trophies are sort of, they're okay. Get max prestige, beat the zombies Easter egg, level up some weapons, and then a lot of them are very story based. And some of the stories are cool. You might have a mission that has different outcomes at the end of it, and a trophy might be affected by that, which is nice. You've got to collect the intel, it's a COD trophy. It's a staple. They sort of are all the same, really. World War II and Modern Warfare are also here. Same sort of trophy list. You're collecting intel. You're leveling up max prestige in the multiplayers. You're beating zombies. The latter two not really applying for Modern Warfare 2, but for every other COD. Modern Warfare 2 on PS3 had Spec Ops trophies, which are notorious for save file usage. The PS4 doesn't really have that. It's a nice, easy platinum. I'd actually recommend Modern Warfare 2 as maybe one you might want to go back and clean up, potentially. It doesn't take too long. I think if I was to check my account, it took about 2 days, I want to say. It's essentially just the campaign. You're playing through, you're getting the collectibles, you're doing some different miscellaneous kills. I think, there's one for dual wielding pistols and stuff like that, or getting for a level without being detected. Fantastic game, though. The plot is amazing. I've said it before, but World War II is my favorite of the Call of Duties. I think the campaign is sort of dumb, but it's dumb fun. It's a popcorn game, It's a popcorn game. The zombies is actually legitimately fairly hard, but it's also legitimately very good. The multiplayer is fairly dead at this point, but double XP is permanent in World War II, so you can sort of power level to level 55 in maybe 3 days. So maybe another one to potentially pick up. Capcom Arcade Stadium. It's a 0.3% completion. Wow, that is surprising. Celeste is up next. This is actually a game I'm maybe looking at doing myself very, very soon. It's a side-scroller platformer that I've heard very, very good things about. I know the music is very highly regarded in this game. I do also know that there's like it's not really an exploit, I don't think, but there's a mode where you can jump an infinite amount of times or something, and that sort of trivializes some of the later game's difficulty. I'll probably try it legit and then sort of see how I go from there. But this is a very good one, and it's followed by another very good one here in Chicken Police. I love to see Chicken Police. This is a noir style investigation game where you play as a chicken detective. All the people in the game sort of have animal heads and stuff like that. It's very, very interesting. The story had some twists and turns that I didn't really see coming, so it's nice to see that on the list. 2 hours and 46 minutes. I think it took me about 4 hours. You probably will need a guide for this one, just because there is trophies for getting all of the sort of interactions with characters and learning everything about each character, which is kind of dependent on the order that you investigate things in an environment. So I would definitely bear in mind that this is probably one that you might want to use a guide on. Chickens on the Road, this is an easy peasy at 99.25%. I'm just going to get one trophy just to lower that rarity. I know nothing about Chickens on the Road. I assume, 7 minutes. It's a sub 10% platinum. Chivalry 2. I love Chivalry 1. This is a game I would love to do myself. I didn't know it was that rare. Wow, the more you know. I didn't know Chivalry was a sub 3%. I might need to look into that sooner rather than later. This is like a first-person action RPG co-op multiplayer sort of thing. You've got two teams fighting on a battlefield for sort of control of points and capturing castles and stuff like that. You've got different sort of weapons styles. You might have bows for range and crossbows. You might have war hammers, long swords, all that sort of fun stuff. The combat's kind of like Kingdom Hearts Deliverance, if people have played that. Very similar sort of thing where sort of the direction you're sort of looking affects the way that you're attacking and stuff like that. Highly recommend the first game, which I think is unobtainable now, so I probably shouldn't recommend the first game. But Chivalry 2, hopefully it's going to be very good. This is one I plan to do at some point as well. Let me know if you would like to do the co-op at some point. Clicker Heroes is next. We then have Color Slayer, this 80% platinum, a week and 2 days. I'm guessing you slay colors. Call that a educated guess, I guess. Concrete Genie is next, that 95%. I know that pain so much. The DLC is VR only, because of course it is. Why wouldn't it be? So I'm also trapped at that 95%. Concrete Genie is a very colorful and charming game. It does do like a weird 180 towards the end of the game in terms of the gameplay structure, but I was definitely a fan. I thought it was very, very good. Essentially, you are drawing monsters on walls and stuff that then sort of comes a life, and then you're using them to solve puzzles and stuff like that. It's very, very charming. Control is next. What is there to say about Control? Control is a third-person investigation sort of shooter. You're in a bureau where paranormal disturbances have caused an outbreak, and you must sort of investigate the levels and sort of stop this from spreading. It's awesome. You've got physics-based sort of abilities, I guess you call them. You can sort of raise concrete out of the ground and throw it and stuff like that. I've said it before, but I had issues where the loading screens were causing like really slow. Essentially, when you left a loading screen, the game would hang up for 3 to 5 working days, which definitely was frustrating by the end. I would say clean up this DLC if you get the chance. The first DLC is in like a red sand mine, and I didn't like it very much, but the second DLC is actually really, really good. It's got a lot of Alan Wake references, so I would highly recommend maybe cleaning up this one. We then have a chunk of incomplete games here. We have Crash Bandicoot, Cuphead. I'd recommend Cuphead. Cuphead's one I've heard very good things about. Dauntless, which I think was a free-to-play, like a Monster Hunter World clone, if I'm not mistaken. Days Gone. Days Gone, you're at 2% here, right? This is one I would maybe recommend cleaning up, and this is why. I know that pain. For a little while on my account, I was also at like 5%, because the game starts really slowly. It is so slow. It is so uninteresting, but then it picks up, and then it's actually quite a good game after you can sort of get through that first like 5-hour hurdle. I would definitely, Sikayduh, maybe recommend giving this one a cheeky cleanup. Def Squared is next. I know nothing about Def Squared. I wasn't good at math, so seeing the word squared is giving me, flashbacks from school. Deep Rock Galactic is next. I'm guessing you started this during the free PS Plus phase. This is like I guess technically a Left 4 Dead clone. You are dwarves that are sort of going into a mine and fighting sort of the local insects. It's an interesting game. I know the platinum is sort of like 300 hours long, which is pretty brutal. Destiny 2 you've started but haven't finished. I do see that there are 4 unobtainable trophies here. I believe that these are unobtainable because DLC has changed content that was in the base game and has like removed content, which really sucks. I think if a game is going to do that, they need to go the route that Rainbow Six Siege did, where DLC removed content from the base game, so the requirements for the trophies actually changed, making everything obtainable. I definitely think that'd be a better route than this here, where suddenly you've got 4 trophies that can never be got, because that sucks, because I've heard good things about Destiny. Detroit Become Human. I'm just going to say it. I don't like Detroit Become Human. I think it is boring. I think the story is sort of very, very, very forced. It's very, look how bad people are and stuff like this. And it's one playthrough is fine. For the trophies, you've got to do 2.5 to get the collectible magazines. By the end, I was very much just using a guide to sort of skip my way through interactions. And I think if you are a big story-based game and someone sort of feels the need to do that, then you've kind of probably maybe failed in your execution. I know a lot of people do enjoy this game though, so maybe I'm just dumb. Maybe I just have no taste. Do let me know in the comments. Next up is Dirt 5. Is Dirt 5 good? Dirt 5 is one that I've looked at maybe doing myself at some point. I just came off of Wreckfest, so I'm sort of in the mood for another driver. I see there's 40% worth of trophies, which kind of sucks. Well, nearly half the game is trophies based on the 21 of 41. But I've heard very good things of Dirt 5. I've heard it's very similar to Wreckfest, just minus the destruction mechanics, I guess. Then we get into your rarest platinum trophy, which is awesome. It's Disney Epic Mickey 2, The Power of Two. I don't necessarily know anything about this game. I also believe this is the first PS3 game we've seen on your list, which is pretty cool. It did take you 1 year and 6 months, but that is a very worthy 1.56 platinum trophy. Congratulations. Donut County is next. I actually finished this last week myself. Really fun game. You play as a giant hole that is swallowing everything up to stop a bad king, essentially. Who is selling donuts and causing a bit of havoc. Very, very fun little charming game. It won't take you very long. You can see there 4 hours and 56 minutes. I think I was around the same sort of mark myself for a 75.84 completion rate. Next up is EA Sports UFC 4. I'm a fan of the UFC myself. I don't think I'd ever really go for these platinums, and you can sort of see why here in Sikayduh's list. We've got a 3.47% completion. I know there's a lot of sort of multiplayer tied to these sorts of things. Not quite as bad as Fight Night with the belt fiasco, but same sort of deal. I can see you might have started it. I think it was free on PS Plus in February, so I think you might have maybe started it then and moved on. Erica, Ether 1. I don't really know anything about either of these. I believe Erica is like a movie game almost. So you're sort of watching cutscenes and making interactions, sort of like Telltale, but without the actual moving. Fall Guys, you love to see it. I love Fall Guys myself. I see you started it, or you were playing it around when it launched on PS Plus, which I think was August of 2020 from memory. Absolutely amazing game. I think it's a shame that you maybe missed the infallible exploit period of time where you could actually earn it from private multiplayer matches. I don't believe you can anymore, but Fall Guys is an amazing game. Fallout 76. It's nice to see someone with this. I have the platinum myself. I don't think it's as bad as a lot of people said. I believe they've added NPCs in since I've played, so there's DLC to this game. It's one that I sort of would like to go back and clean up at some point, maybe. I'm just going to take an educated guess without going in there. We can go in there. We can have a sticky beak. I believe. So we finished the story mission. We built our camp, which is kind of like the settlements from Fallout 4, but sort of made smaller to just focus on yourself. Crafted a weapon. Yep. 20 challenges, yeah, that's essentially just doing damage to different types of enemies, and gathered 200 junk. I'm not massively surprised those are the trophies you got. This is one I'd definitely recommend maybe cleaning up. It won't take too long. I believe the level 100 took me... I had to do it twice because the trophy didn't pop for me back on near launch. I think 2 double XP weekends both times got me from level 20-ish to the 100. It's not as bad as everyone says. It's not as glitchy as everyone says. I'd recommend this one. The next platinum we have here is Far Cry 3, a classic, hence the classic edition name. Very, very fun game. If you liked Far Cry 3, I would say Far Cry 4 is a very good step up, and then Far Cry 6 if you want a newer sorts of games. They're all very similar. Far Cry 6 is probably the most polished one, but sort of, I would say 4 has a better story. But this is a good one here, essentially for anyone who's interested. Open world shooter, climb some towers, check off whatever activities are on the map, and you have this one. FIFA 2022, this is a current game you were playing last month, I'm guessing because it was free on PS Plus. I know these games have a lot of like Ultimate Team and multiplayer and all that sort of fun stuff, hence the 2.63. I also do know that these games have a very bad habit of becoming unobtainable a year or two after launch, so maybe Sikayduh, this is one you might want to potentially look into finishing up just in case it does become unobtainable for you. First Class Trouble. I've heard okay things about this. I have a good friend of mine, shout out to Bruce Man on twitch.tv, who has talked about this as maybe being a Among Us sort of clone. I've heard average sort of things. I think the trophies require you to have a few people, hence the boosting session there. So if you are interested in maybe cleaning that up, you could jump into one of these 2 sessions. Fortnite is next. This is actually the game that Sikayduh earned their first trophy in. I'm never touching this. I might be the one person on earth that's never played a single game of Fortnite, and I intend to keep it that way. I know the stories are not actually for the free-to-play Battle Royale. They're actually for like a wave-based survival thing, right? You got to like build your base to survive zombie hordes that sort of become harder as you go. The trophies are brutal, hence the 0.11% completion rate. That is crazy, but 52% is pretty impressive, mate. Fury Unleashed is next. I know nothing about this, if I'm honest. Gem Smashers, easy peasy, 4.5 hours. Ghost of Tsushima is next. This is another big open world sort of Assassin's Creed-like game. You play as sort of the last samurai on the island after everyone else was slaughtered. Open world, side quest activities, killing enemies in different sort of combat forms. The form system in this is actually pretty neat. So different enemies will have different weapon types, and you sort of have to use a different sword art form, I guess you would call it, to beat those enemies, which is a unique sort of way of making the combat always sort of relatively fresh. An absolutely fantastic game. I see you also haven't touched Raid or the DLC. I'm in the same boat myself. I should probably clean up the Raid at some point. You only did it recently, though. You did it in February, so congratulations on that. Goat Simulator is next. I'm actually impressed on that Platinum because of Flappy Goat is nothing to joke about. That is actually a legitimately frustrating trophy. I've heard very good things about the DLC. I know the World of Warcraft one is supposedly very, very good. With the announcement of Goat Simulator 3, maybe looking to cleaning this one up. I know the DLC goes on sale for sort of sub $5 Australian fairly frequently, in all honesty. So this might be one that you would be interested in polishing off. Next up, we have God of War. It's God of War. This is a classic sort of PS4 big staple of the console. Amazing game, very good story, very fun combat. The trophies are fairly smooth except for the one for hunting down the those green ghost crows. That trophy sucked. Shout out to that one crow that was on a lake that just refused to be found for me. Next up we have the GTA 3 Remastered Definitive Edition. I did the older version. I think the Definitive Edition technically has like updated controls and stuff. I don't think either probably plays particularly well. I'm definitely going to make that guess based on the 1% earned there. Maybe want to clean up. These games are fun but very, very aged. One bit of advice I would say from someone who's played the non-definitive edition is go back and get the side activities done each time you get to an island first. That way, when the gangs become hostile, it's not like a mission impossible to get those done. GTA 5, you've got some boosting sessions. I'm going to guess that the trophies you've got there are the story ones. I wasn't as big a fan on GTA 5. It's probably the biggest letdown for me of the series. I really liked the sort of angle that GTA 4 went, where it was sort of more nitty gritty. Guns Up, we got two trophies of 21. HIQ Ace Unlimited is like a puzzle sliding game. I'm actually amazed it's got that low of a percentage rate because it was free on PS Plus, I believe. Straightforward, easy peasy sort of puzzle game. I think it's fairly fun though, right? It's a fairly enjoyable one. Hitman 2, that hurts me. I would love to see that a lot higher. The Hitman trilogy is really, really good. I actually got the Platinum in Hitman 3 very recently, and I sort of just have the DLC for Hitman 2 left to clean up, which has a sniper side mission, or side mode, which heads up Sikayduh. If you do go back to clean this up, it sucks. It's a rough one. Horizon Zero Dawn. It's an open world game. You fight robot dinosaurs, you do some crafting, you climb some towers. There's nothing really special about Horizon. I think my opinion was definitely soured by Forbidden West being as bad, in my opinion, as it was. But I like Zero Dawn. I think the DLC and the mechanics in the snow region in that are very, very good. This is another one I definitely recommend cleaning up. Humans Fall Flat is a co-op sort of physics-based puzzle solver. Very, very, very fun. This is one I'm looking at maybe doing in the future myself. I do know that it gets like 1 million trophies every year. You can see it's got 82 trophies there. It gets DLC fairly frequently. I believe it's definitely in the same sort of release plan as like Killing Floor 2, where you just have collectible trophies out every 4 seconds. But I've heard very good things of Humans Fall Flat. Hyperscape, we've got some unobtainable trophies here. Apparently the entire thing is unobtainable, so that sucks. I hate to see not being able to get any cleanup on that. That is definitely, I'm sorry, man. Iron Bread, it's nice to see. It's scary that 7%, 4 of 35 trophies is a B rank. That really goes to show just how challenging Iron Bread is. I know a couple of people who got the platinum in this sort of over Christmas. That is very, very impressive. You've got a lot of like time trials and stuff, and I believe the more your bread touches different elements like the floor or objects in the environment, the more dirty it gets, which I think affects your rank at the end. And I think a lot of the trophies are sort of get, an S rank on different levels. So you've got to be fast, and you've got to not touch things, which is very difficult when you are a piece of bread. The Infamous series here, I love to see this. We've got Infamous 1 incomplete. I'm going to take an educated guess at the amount of trophies you have left over and say that the half that you don't have is probably one of either the good or evil playthroughs, and then the Shards trophy. The Shards trophy is notorious because you didn't have any way of tracking them in game. The only way you could do it was sort of making a printout or getting a browser page up on the internet and just sort of checking them off as you go. Very, very painful, very, very tedious, and very known to be cheated by a lot of people. People will get save files and stuff like that to try and get out of doing it, which is a shame. The game itself is very, very good. Infamous 2 is my favorite of the lot. You did it last year, which is nice to see. Infamous 2 is amazing. It's sort of improved on the first game in every way. We've then got First Light, Second Son, and Festival of Blood, also known as the Vampire Infamous. All are great games in their own way. First Light is sort of like an arena-based sort of take on the formula. The rest of them are story-based, open-world games. You've got to do 2 playthroughs, one as a good guy, one as a bad guy. That's really the only difference. They all have that. They're all very similar. I would recommend this series to people. Injustice 2, Island Saver, Jigsaw Soulless. That is a relatively quick and painless puzzle game by the look of it. Knockout City, Lego DC. I think we got that free on PS Plus in December of last year, I believe. That is one I would like to maybe go back to myself fairly soon. I'm sort of very burnt out of Lego after the Skywalker saga, but I've heard very good things. I think you make your own supervillain, which is a kind of cool concept. Do let me know if that's one that's worth doing. Next up, we have Limbo. I would definitely recommend going back to Limbo. It's a side-scroller in black and white. The only really challenging trophy is beating the game in 5 deaths or less, I believe. But I think you can make manual saves and maybe save scum a little bit in terms of backing your save up to the cloud. I'm not entirely sure. I haven't done it just yet, but I've heard very, very good things. Little Nightmares is next. Little Nightmares is an amazing game. Another sort of side-scrolling but 2.5D, I guess you would call it, horror game. You play as a kid in a very creepy boat. The second game is also really good. I definitely recommend it. Little Nightmares does have one really awful trophy where you've got to beat the game in less than an hour without dying. It's rough. I haven't tried it myself. I did the game on stream, twitch.tv/symmetry. It's where I stream. Fun fact. But so I need to probably do a couple playthroughs off stream in my own time to get used to the game enough to actually tackle that trophy. Little Big Planet 3, Madden NFL 2020. That's an impressive one. That's a really impressive one right there. 2 years and 1 month for a 2.3% platinum trophy. You'd love to see it. I assume there is probably a lot of online multiplayer in things like Super Coach and Super Team or Ultimate Team or whatever NFL's packaging of that concept is. Mafia Definitive is next. Amazing game. Another one I'd probably recommend going back and cleaning up. The race is rough. So you've got to beat the game on a normal difficulty and then beat it on classic. One of the missions has you in a 1930s race car that controls about as well as that sounds. That took me about a week of just, I would sit down and spend maybe an hour on it. And if I didn't get it, I'd just put it down and leave. You can get past that race on classic. The rest of the game is a cakewalk. And then you've just got collectibles and stuff. You've got to go collect different magazines and stuff like that. Maneater, you play as a giant shark. You eat lots of people. The trophies are just about you eating lots of people and customizing your shark. It's a fun game. I actually had a funny thing in Maneater where when I went back and cleaned up the DLC, I used the PS5. I just got the PS5. And the haptic feedback, like, really hurt through my knuckles and stuff like that. Because it was always vibrating because you're always eating. It hurt. I did some damage to the old fingers. Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy, the Telltale series. I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't know there was a Telltale series of that. I was expecting the actual Guardians of the Galaxy game that came out last year. I'm actually working on it myself at the moment. I did not know there was a Telltale one. So, Sikayduh, do let me know if that one's actually worth tackling at some point. We've got Spider-Man and Spider-Man Miles Morales. Open world, fantastic games. The gameplay is really, really smooth. I would say it's the best web slinging in a Spider-Man game. The stories are interesting. The villains are interesting. I plan on doing Miles Morales myself very, very soon. But overall, very, very good games. The trophy lists, these are always games I sort of recommend to people that are getting started in trophy hunting just because the lists are so forgiving. You don't have missables. The collectibles are relatively easy to find. The combat stuff is relatively easy to do. The challenges for that one supervillain that suck, you only need a bronze rank for, so that's fairly cruisy anyway. You'll get lots of them the first time you do them. Overall, amazing games. I'm glad to see these both at 100%. Metro... do it for me. Get the 100% in Metro 2033 for me. You'll be my favorite if you get that. Metro is an amazing game. You've got to do 2 playthroughs, one on sort of the Spartan difficulty, which is guns blazing, and one on survival. You'll be getting a lot of collectibles. There's one trophy where you've got to get the good ending. The good ending is essentially just based on decisions you make through the game and things that you witness. I would probably recommend having a guide open for that. But Metro is an amazing survival horror shooter thing hybrid. And I also recommend Last Light, and Exodus is okay. Maybe not. If you're going to skip one, that's the one to skip. Minecraft, we got the Platinum Trophy and a lot of the DLC by the look of it. If I go in here, is it going to be the 2 DLC I'm expecting? Is it going to be those 2 crappy semi-unobtainable ones? Let's have a look in here. Yes. So that's one of the ones where, to give people context, there's 2 DLCs that are unobtainable. You need a version of the game older than December of 2020. And then you need the additions button to pop up. This took me a year to be able to get this to work. This sucked. And there's the other one. Yep. So the 2 DLCs you don't have complete are the 2 I'm talking about there. That really blows. I'm sorry to see that. I see that you haven't done the newest DLC for Set 2. I believe that came out Friday of last week. Polish that off. You can just load into a world and essentially auto pop them. It's nice. It's easy. I think I jinxed us all by in episode 1 of this series. I made a comment about them being lazy and owing us a DLC. So they then smacked us with one. My bad. Put my hand up. My bad. Moving out, I believe Dibble from Missing Collectible, my good friends over there, He really likes this game. I've heard this is a good co-op game, I believe. My Name is Mayo 1 and 2. Where's 3? Come on. We need a My Name is Mayo 3 in 49 minutes just to keep the theme going there. I need to do 2 and 3 myself. I think I'm saving them for my milestones because you've got to. You really got to. You tap a jar for 50 minutes. Have you really lived until you've done that? NASCAR, Need for Speed Payback. It's nice to see that you're into the racing games. I mean, they're both at 1%, but we've seen Dirt 5 and stuff earlier in the list. Maybe games to clean up. I don't really know anything about NASCAR, but the Need for Speeds, I was always a big fan of the Undergrounds and the Most Wanteds back in the sort of mid-2000s when I had hair. Newtonian Inversion I've never heard of. Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl, I believe, is very, very recent. I've seen a lot of people on Twitter and stuff like that getting this platinum, like, recently, so that's a nice one to see. We've got another Olympic Games player. I believe Beautiful Torment in the last episode had some Olympics games as well, which, to be perfectly honest with you, I didn't even think they were making those anymore. Outer Wilds at 2%, that hurts, or 3% rather, what are numbers? Outer Wilds is essentially a space exploration game where you play as a relatively new explorer trying to work out what happened to a race of beings before, like from a very long time before you. You're exploring different planets looking for what happened to these people. It's awesome. Outer Wilds is an amazing one. It's one I need to clean up myself. The spaceship sucks. The spaceship controls I am not a fan of personally. They're not bad. The controls themselves aren't bad, but they require the player to spend a lot of time learning them. A lot of things are sort of physics based. You've got planets have different gravitational pulls, all that sort of fun stuff. And just let me fly and go explore the planets. The planets are awesome. That's what I want to do. I don't want to spend half of a time loop in a ship. But this is one that I highly, highly, highly recommend. I'll actually have another video out very soon that sort of goes a bit more in depth on Outer Wilds, so stay tuned for that. Paladins was a free-to-play sort of Overwatch clone, I believe. Persona 5 Royal, that's an awesome one to see. I actually know nothing about Persona. I'm not really a big anime sort of person personally, so I've heard very, very good things about Persona. I've heard they're very long and difficult platinums. I think Royal polished Persona 5 a bit. It's like a re-release that sort of polished some issues that people had and made some changes and added some stuff. Persona 5 Strikers, Phineas and Ferb. Wow, that is a flashback. I forgot about Phineas and Ferb. That was a show on TV when I was a kid. Plants vs. Zombies Battle for Neighborville, I think, is number 3 in the trilogy. I think it is also the easiest one, so that might be one that you'd be interested in cleaning up. We've got Ratchet and Clank, Rayman's Legends, classics. They're both classics from sort of the PS2 sort of era. Rayman is a platformer, side-scrolling platformer. Ratchet and Clank is a pseudo remaster of the first Ratchet and Clank / tie-in game for a movie. Really good game, very easy to do. I've done that platinum twice over the years. I would definitely recommend cleaning up Ratchet and Clank. The only thing to be mindful of is one of the trophies requires making every type of enemy in the game dance. From memory, there is one enemy that you will only see once. It's like tentacles that come out of a train. Only time you'll ever see those, so do be mindful of that. Realm Royale, Red Dead 2 at 1%. Sikayduh, you're hurting me. I need to see that cleaned up a bit more. I love Red Dead 2. Rise of the Tomb Raider, Road Bustle, 15 minutes. You like roads. We had Chicken of the Roads and then Road Bustle. Is there something I don't know about of the road making in the trophy hunting community? Rocket League at 100%, that is super impressive. I know there is quite a lot of DLC that requires you to drive quite a lot of distances. 100%, I love to see it. Road Company, this is a first-person shooter, I believe. Sackboy is one I've looked at maybe doing myself. It's essentially a spiritual successor / tie into the Little Big Planet trilogy, which we saw Little Big big Planet 3 earlier in this list. I can't speak today. I'm failing miserably at the whole speaky thing. Scribblenauts Mega Pack. Scribblenauts was a game I think I played on like the Nintendo DS as a kid. Essentially, you can draw different objects and animals and stuff to solve puzzles and stuff like that. I assume this is a very similar sort of concept. I didn't actually know there was one on PS4, so maybe I'll look into that one myself. Skyscrapers 100%. That's a good one as well. An hour and 35 minutes. That's fast. Sleeping Dogs, I would love to see this cleaned up. Sleeping Dogs is essentially a sort of clone of Saints Row and GTA set in Hong Kong. Very interesting. I love the way that they sort of focus on combat over guns. So it's melee combat. You've got a lot of like brutal melee finishes and stuff like that. You play an undercover cop, so you've got a whole like cop reputation and criminal reputation system that you've got to kind of balance, which is very, very interesting. If you're like me, you'll fail miserably in balancing those. Sly Cooper, we've got the Phoebius Raccoonius is the only one with the completion there. I believe that is the first game. Obviously, we're missing Sly Cooper 3, I believe, in that little collection there. Most of them are fairly high there, though. I could see going back and maybe knocking out the last few trophies of mini games, for example. Definitely help bump the completion rate up a little bit if that is something that you're obviously interested in, of course. Snake Boat Otterific Arcade. I don't know what that is, but I want to know what that is. That sounds incredible. Spartan, Spellbreak, Splitgate near complete as well. You got 4 trophies away, but it is a 0.007% completion, which is crazy. I think Spellbreak is also super, super low. I believe a fella I know got the 100% in that maybe a year or two ago. SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom. This is one I've looked at maybe doing myself very, very soon. It's a collectathon. You're going back and collecting a lot of stuff. Remake of the PlayStation 2 game. I've heard very good things myself. I haven't had the chance to try it yet. The first Spyro. Spyro is awesome. You know, what is there to say about Spyro? Relatively straightforward trophy lists, a shite ton of collectibles, but very, very fun and charming games. And I know that the gameplay in these has been polished up a lot. Another trilogy that I plan on doing probably this year at some point. Battlefront 2 at 2%. I can understand that. It's got a lot of very long-winded, grindy collectible level trophies. I believe from memory, every Wednesday there was like a double XP. So that's how I did it. I just played every Wednesday. The Hero Starfighters is another trophy that will definitely cause people issue if they want to go and clean that up. Essentially, you have to just defeat other players in hero ships, which is easier said than done. Steep is an interesting one to see here. I'm surprised it doesn't have an unobtainable little marker next to it, because I believe there is a DLC that you can only complete if you buy like a physical version or something. There's an Olympics version. Maybe I'm wrong in saying that's unobtainable, but I do know it got delisted, so do bear that in mind if that is a game that you're interested in maybe cleaning up. It's a snowboarding game. I remember watching Achievement Hunter play it at one point, so it's an interesting one. Stranded Deep sucks. I would not recommend going back and finishing this. This is essentially if you were to buy The Forest on Wish, Stranded Deep is what you would get. It's got some interesting ideas like being sunburnt and stuff like that, but it doesn't really execute them very well. A lot of the trophies have you essentially just sitting there for hours at a time, just bored because you can't do anything. Never forget the trophy for having 2 of each dead animal on my ark in a storm, right? I spent maybe 6 hours trying to get that to pop in storms because the waves just instantly tip your raft. And then I just got it on a sunny day. There was no rain in sight. There was no clouds. It just kind of popped. I don't even think I was on my raft. Subnautica 100%, you love to see that. Amazing game. It's a better version of Stranded Deep. You're making a base essentially underwater. There's some islands you can make bases on as well. You are trying to discover the ruins of another civilization that have been on the planet after your ship crash lands there. Very, very good. Sikayduh, are you going to be interested in maybe doing Subnautica 2 in the future? We've got Super Bomberman R online. I know someone who has just started this, I think, today. Super Hot is a very impressive one. Surgeon Simulator, 2%, but it is a 0.61% platinum rarity. You've got a lot of time-based stuff with controls that are very deliberately wishy-washy to sort of challenge you. That'd be definitely a very impressive one to clean up, maybe. Team Sonic Racing, Mario Kart with Sonic. It's okay. 4% though. I was not expecting a 4%. I was expecting like a 30%. Telling Lies, I think, is another one of those sort of movie games where you just pick dialogue choices the same way that I said Erica was above. The Artful Escape was a game that you actually got the trophy in today. So congratulations in that. That is awesome and very, very impressive. 16 hours. That's no easy feat. The Sims 4, 1 year and 4 months. That probably means you did it legit, which is very impressive given that there is a way of just downloading, like if you need the triplets trophy, you just download a character that's going to give birth to triplets. The Sims 4 does not run well on consoles at all. It's not good. I don't recommend it. It was free on PS Plus. If you do decide to go that route, just use the family thing in the gallery. The Witness, 11 of 14. That means you didn't get the final puzzle. I'm not surprised. It is a genuinely tricky puzzle that I believe has a time limit of 15 minutes, and you can't pause the game. So maybe one you'd be interested in cleaning up at some point. The Wolf Among Us Twice. I think that's our first stack, which is impressive because I know it is a very well-regarded Telltale game. It's one that I want to do myself at some point. I'm just not big on Telltale games. Totally Reliable Delivery Service. Another one I've heard very good things about. Toy Story Mania. I do like that you go in and do stuff like Toy Story and Disney's Mickey's Adventure Epic 2 Squared times Oblivion or whatever it's called. Trackmania Turbo. We've got Tron. Tron has some unobtainable trophies. Only 2, which is a shame because it would have been an impressive 100%. Uncharted Drake's Fortune Remastered. Come on, man. You can go back and clean up the Uncharted's. I believe in you. I believe in you. You can go back and clean those up. Undertale. Undertale is an amazing game. I'm pretty sure there was a period of like 2 years there where you couldn't go on the internet without seeing something about Undertale. It's one I want to do it myself at some point. Congratulations on that, Platinum. We Were Here is a puzzle co-op game. I've heard very good things about this. There's a trilogy of them. You've got We Were Here 2, and We Were Here 2 Epic Boogaloo. That is not the name of the final one, but there's 3 of them. World War Z, Left 4 Dead clone, not a particularly good one, I believe. Very, very, very grindy, hence the 3.53% platinum rarity. And then the last one here we have is Witchwood, which is like an RPG, I guess. This is one that I'm sort of looking at maybe doing myself now that it's available on the new PS Plus package. But yes, that is the list, and it is an impressive list. It is definitely an achievement to be hitting as many platinums as you have in, 3 years? Yeah, so 3 years of trophy hunting, and we got 52 platinums, some of which are real powerful platinums, like Disney's Epic Mickey 2. There's definitely a lot of games you could probably clean up on the list, but that's up to you if that's something you're interested in. I would definitely recommend stuff like the Uncharted's, some of those Call of Duties. There's some good stuff there that you could clean up and maybe boost the list up quite a bit, but do let us know what sort of games you have in mind of maybe doing in the future. And yeah, obviously I'll be back next week, the same day next week. I'm just going to release them on Wednesdays during the week, and then hope for maybe an additional video on the weekend. It's things like top 10s and stuff like that. Do remember that if you want your own list looked at, leave it in the comments. Give me a cheeky subscribe so I know that you actually like this content. And I will see you guys next week. Sikayduh, this has been a very, very impressive account, and I look forward to seeing what you finish in the coming year, man. I will catch you later. I miss you already. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.